You can start, Mataji. Mataji, you are not audible, Mataji.
Not audible?
No. Very faint it is, the volume.
Now is it better, Mataji?
Slightly better.
Shall I begin, Mataji? You can't hear?
Yes, start,
Low
Mataji. Can hear
volume,
you.
Mataji.
Volume is very low. See if
I'll
you
try
can make
now.
it little.
Okay.
Okay, start.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Is it better now?
Yes.
It's better. Yes.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो। वस्तु अमूलिक दी मेरे सतगुरु, वस्तु अमूलिक दी मेरे सतगुरु, कृपा कर अपनायो, पायो जी मैंने कृपा कर अपनायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो। जन्म जन्म की पूंजी पाई, जन्म जन्म की पूंजी पाई, जग में सभी को आयो, पायो जी मैंने जग में सभी को आयो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो। खर्च न खोटे चोर न लूटे, खर्च न खोटे चोर न लूटे, दिन दिन बढ़ता सवायो, पायो जी मैंने दिन दिन बढ़ता सवायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो। सत की नाव केवटिया सतगुरु, सत की नाव केवटिया सतगुरु, भवसागर तर आयो, पायो जी मैंने भवसागर तर आयो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो। मीरा के प्रभु गिरधर नागर, मीरा के प्रभु गिरधर नागर, हरख हरख जस गायो, पायो जी मैंने हरख हरख जस गायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम रामा हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम रामा हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम रामा हरे हरे। शीला प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Nice Kirtan, Mataji. It was very nice. Thank you so much. Let's begin with our prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we are doing prayers by Shuka Muni. So before it comes in chapter 4 of second canto. So before Shuka Muni offers his prayers, what was the situation? We'll just look at that. So what happens is here, Suta Goswami is actually speaking to the sages in Naimisharanya. And he is narrating what Shukamani spoke with Parikshit Maharaj and what were the questions of Parikshit Maharaj. So there's a nice dialogue going on there. Parikshit Maharaj asks some questions here and there. He says, I have this doubt. Can you clear this? And he says, can you reveal the process of creation? Because you are a devotee of the Lord and you are as good as Krishna himself. He says all that. And then Shukamuni starts speaking. But what is very important in this chapter, what is given is when Shukamuni is about to speak, he gives all credit to Krishna. He knows a lot. So that's why everybody's sitting to hear from him because he's self-realized and he is the greatest authority there. They put give him the Vyasasan, but he gives credit to Krishna. This is so beautiful. He says, something. It's very beautiful. Read that, and then he starts speaking. So that is the quality of a great devotee or great people. They never. I'll just mute. Yes. Because in the material world, it is given in Bhagavatam also. What happens is people like to take credit. When they do something great, people are applauding them. Everybody feels, oh, you're so speak so nicely, or you have so many skills, or something like that. Anything for that matter, they immediately feel like, oh, I did something, I achieved something. So it's given here very nicely in one of the shlokas. The Shukamuni immediately, invokes the blessings of Krishna before he starts speaking. That's so nice. So let's see what really happened here. So Suta Goswami is speaking to, this is what he said. Maharaj Parikshit, the son of Uttara, after hearing the speeches of Shukadev Goswami, which were all about the truth of the self, applied his concentration faithfully upon Lord Krishna. He starts, thinking about Krishna. He's completely absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. He goes into the pastimes actually. When he is narrating, Parikshit Maharaj is so immersed in hearing that he goes into the pastime. He is so absorbed. Now he's saying this. See, he says this. I beg to know from you how the personality of Godhead, by his personal energies, creates these phenomenal universes as they are, which are inconceivable even to the great demigods. He says, please speak about Krishna. Please talk about him. Tell me about, hope you can reveal, we all want to know about his personal energies and how being all powerful, how does he engage his different energies? And he wants to know about all his expansions. How is he maintaining everything? And how does he wind up the phenomenal world? So, and it's all like a sporting spirit of a player. He says that. O learned Brahmana, he says, the transcendental activities of the Lord are all wonderful and they appear inconceivable because even great endeavors by many learned scholars have still proved insufficient for understanding them. Nobody can understand Krishna. Krishna himself reveals himself. He reveals himself. So, the personality of Godhead is one, whether he alone acts with the modes of material nature or simultaneously expands in many forms or expands consecutively to direct the modes of nature. So it says, please clear all my doubtful inquiries. Whatever Parikshit Maharaj is asking is for the whole world so that everybody can benefit. He says, you are a great devotee of the Lord and therefore you are as good as the personality of Godhead. Please. Then When Shukadev Goswami was thus requested by the king to describe the creative energies of the personality of Godhead, he then remembered the master of the senses, because see, we are using our senses all the time to speak, to smell, to hear, right? Who is the master of all these senses? That is Krishna. He has to give us the capacity to speak also. If something about him, then definitely he has to enable the person. So Suta Goswami says, when Shukadev Goswami was thus requested, he remembered the master of senses. And then he starts offering his prayers. But then from 12 to 23, those are the prayers. And in 23, it's given so nicely. We'll go here for a minute. See, it says, in the purport, Prabhupada is saying, as a fully dependent devotee, unlike a mundane man who is proud of his own capability, we all forget actually. Anything we do, we forget, oh, this is me. I'm so successful. We feel like that. But what is he doing? He invokes the pleasure of the personality of Godhead. He says, I'm narrating this for Krishna's pleasure. That's what he's saying. So that his statements may be successful and be appreciated by the hearers. The devotee always thinks of himself as instrumental for anything successfully carried out, and he declines to take credit for anything done by himself. But the godless atheist, what does he do? He wants to take all the credit for all activities, not knowing that even a blade of grass cannot move without the sanction of the Supreme Spirit. We forget this. Actually, when a person is totally helpless, at that point of time, he remembers God. Otherwise, when he's going fine, when situation is favorable and everything is great, he's enjoying, there is sufficient food and everything, he barely, he may forget Krishna. So, Shukadeva Goswami therefore wants to move by the direction of the Supreme Lord, who inspired Brahma to speak the Vedic wisdom. The truths described in the Vedic literature are not theories of mundane imagination, nor are they fictitious, as the less intelligent class of men sometimes think. It is not like somebody took some pen and paper and started writing theories. Vedic. This is the Vedic knowledge. I'll just come up with these theorems and what these rules and regulations. The rest of the world will follow. Not like that. This is coming directly from God Himself. So these are not something. Hmm, coming from somebody's mental speculation or imagination. So this has to be honored. The Vedic truths are all perfect descriptions of the factual truth without any mistake or illusion. Because human being has this for he's not perfect. He has these imperfections. But this is coming from a complete whole who is completely perfect. It's coming from God Himself. And Shukadeva Goswami wants to present the truths of creation not as a metaphysical theory of philosophical speculation, but as the actual facts and figures of the subject, since he would be dictated to by the Lord exactly in the same manner as Brahmaji was inspired. So whatever he says, he cannot add or subtract anything. However, Brahmaji received that knowledge, same thing he has to convey here. So he needs the Lord's blessings for this. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is himself the father of the Vedanta knowledge, and it is he only who knows the factual puppet of the Vedanta philosophy. So there is no greater truth than the principles of religion mentioned in the Vedas. Such Vedic knowledge or religion is disseminated by authorities like Shukdev Goswami because he is a humble, devotional servitor of the Lord who has no desire to become a self-appointed interpreter without authority. He's been authorized to speak. That is the way of explaining the Vedic knowledge, technically known as the Parampara system or descending process. So that is why Krishna consciousness is so important, because it is coming to us from a bona fide parampara system. So we'll come back to this shloka. We have to start from 12. So he knows, it's given here, the intelligent man can see without mistake that any material creation cannot beautifully grow up without the spiritual touch. Matter cannot change, matter cannot grow. A body is just matter. So all this, there is more explanation. We'll come back to this. We'll go to 12, where he begins to pray. So what is he saying? Let's see. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who for the creation of the material world accepts the three modes of nature. He is the complete whole, residing within the body of everyone, and his ways are inconceivable. Do you know that shloka from Ishopanishad? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam.
पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. So the Lord is the complete whole. So he's saying that. And then he says, as Vishnu, he enters into every body materially created. As Garbhodakshai Vishnu, he enters into every universe. As Kshirodakshai Vishnu, he enters the body of every living being. Paramatma is there with the Atma always. Lord Shri Krishna, being the origin of all Vishnu Tattvas, is addressed here as Parapuman, Purushottama. He is the complete whole. His plenary expansions are Purushavataras. So, Bhakti Yoga is the only process by which one can become competent to know him. How do we know Krishna? We become competent to know him only by the process of Bhakti Yoga. Because the empiric philosophers and mystic yogis cannot conceive of the personality of Godhead. He is called Anupalakshya Vartmane. Anupalakshya Vartmane means the Lord of the inconceivable way, or Bhakti Yoga. So again, he is offering his obeisances. I again offer my respectful obeisances unto the form of complete existence and transcendence, who is the liberator of the pious devotees from all distresses and the destroyer of the further advances in atheistic temperament of the non-devotee demons. See, he's killing the demons. Because some demons, he didn't do anything at all. He can just get rid of them very easily. But some demons are so fortunate because the Lord personally came situated in the topmost spiritual perfection. He grants their specific destination. So let's see here. Lord Sri Krishna is the complete form of all existence, both material and spiritual. Akhila means complete, or that which is not khila, inferior. So in the Bhagavad Gita, it's given there are two kinds of nature, material nature and spiritual nature, or external and internal potencies of the Lord. And it's also given the material nature is called apara, inferior, and spiritual nature is superior. And what is complete transcendence? What is murti? What is the meaning of murti? Murti means that which has transcendental form, or having transcendental form. So people who are less intelligent, they are unaware of this transcendental form, and they describe him as impersonal Brahman. But what is impersonal Brahman? They just think God is energy, and they talk about Brahma Jyoti and all this. So that Brahman is also, what is it? It's rays of his transcendental body. It's coming from the Lord himself. So one who offers service, the Lord reciprocates. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get his mercy. The pious men who follow the rulings of the Vedas are also dear to him because they are following the rules of the Vedas. So that's why whoever is following whatever, whether it is fruitive activity or this, whoever is following the prescribed duties, if they are following the Varnashrama system and all the regulations, then they become very dear to Krishna because these Vedic principles are coming from him. And they are all designed in such a way that a person will slowly progress and become a devotee one day. The ultimate goal of Vedas is Bhakti Yoga only, to develop love for the Godhead. So now some of them who are specially favored by the Lord are killed by him personally. See, we think Krishna is coming to kill Kamsa, he's killing that demon, this demon. But this is also a favor. He's personally killing them. See, examples, Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, all that is given. So he's given here, the Paramahamsa stage of existence is the highest perfectional stage of spiritual values. And even Kunti Devi is saying, the Lord is factually understood by the Paramahamsas only. As there is gradual realization of the transcendence from impersonal Brahman to localized Paramatma to the personality of Godhead, it's given in Bhagavad Gita, right? There are 3 stages of, understanding the Lord. One is, Brahma Jyoti, that realization, and then Paramatma, and then Bhagavan realization. So, that gradual progressive stages are mentioned here. But pure Bhakti Yoga is understood by the Paramahamsas, and Kunti especially mentions it. The Lord descends. Why does it descend? To award Bhakti Yoga to the Paramahamsas. So ultimately, the Paramahamsas, in the true sense of the term, who are Paramahamsas? They are unalloyed devotees of the Lord. Only they are called Paramahamsas. And then, since the Lord is very kind to everyone, the impersonalists who accept bhakti as the means of merging in the existence of the Lord in his impersonal Brahma Jyoti are also awarded their desired destination. The impersonalists, they also awarded, they go to Brahma Jyoti, but that is temporary. They'll come back anyway. So in Bhagavad Gita 4.11, he has assured everyone, Ye yathamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. However we surrender, to whatever degree we surrender, in whatever way we are serving him, he'll reciprocate accordingly. So that's given here very nicely. Then he says, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him who is the associate of the members of the Yadu dynasty and who is always a problem for the non-devotees. He is the supreme enjoyer of both the material and spiritual worlds, yet he enjoys his own abode in the spiritual sky. He enjoys his own abode, Goloka Vrindavana. There is no one equal to him because his transcendental opulence is immeasurable. After a few shlokas, there is one very beautiful shloka where they are saying, it conveys that the whole world was following Brahmanical way of living once upon a time. The Varnashrama system was followed so beautifully, and Prabhupada in the purport, the long purport, very nicely saying which part of the world was which kingdom and how did they become like this. Because not everybody, see, if you go to Greece, they are not there, you will barely find any Brahmanas over there. Nobody's following anything. How did they become like that? How did they even forget their Vedic culture? So all this explanation is given. We'll go to that. So now he's saying here, he's the constant companion. There are 2 sides of the transcendental manifestation of the Supreme Lord. For the pure devotees, he's the constant companion. As in the case of his own family members. He was a friend to Arjuna, and then he was a lover to the damsels of Rajabhumi. He was the son of Nanda and Yashoda. So for pure devotees, he has a very personal relationship. That's what is given here. Then, by his impersonal feature, he expands the rays of Brahma Jyoti, which is limited, which is limitless and all-pervasive. Part of this all-pervasive Brahma Jyoti, which is compared to the sun rays, is covered by the darkness of the Mahatattva, and this insignificant part is known as the material world. So it's given what is Mahatattva, what is the material world is given. In this material world, there are innumerable universes like the one we can experience, and in each of them there are hundreds of thousands of planets like the one we are inhibiting. It's very nicely given. See, there is this Brahma Jyoti, which is what compared to the sun rays, because the effulgence is coming from Krishna himself. And just imagine there is so much effulgence over there. And in that effulgence, there is this darkness covered by the darkness, a part of it. Part of this all-pervasive Brahma Jyoti, part of it is dark, which is called Mahatattva, and this insignificant part, it is called That is the material world, in which you will see thousands of planets, and in one of those planets we are there. The mundaners are more or less captivated by the unlimited expansions of the rays of the Lord, but the devotees are concerned more with his personal form from which everything is emanating. As the sun rays are concentrated in the sun disk, the Brahma Jyoti is concentrated in Goloka Vrindavan, the topmost spiritual planet in the spiritual sky. So we cannot even imagine reaching the planets in the spiritual sky. It is not possible, because we are like, what I see, I believe. We can see some Mars and Jupiter and all this. So people are trying to go there with a material vehicle. But what is in the spiritual sky is very difficult to imagine also. So the Lord and his transcendental abode, his residential abode, will always remain a myth or a mysterious problem. But for the devotees, the Lord will always be available as an associate. So if materially we want to search for the spiritual sky and Vaikuntha and Goloka, it's going to be very difficult. It's impossible, as far as we know from reading all this, from what Prabhupada is saying and Shuka is saying. It is not possible to reach the spiritual world in the material body, or we can't even see it. The spiritual sky is opulence is immeasurable. But the impersonalists who want to merge in the existence of the Lord are allowed to merge. Allowed to merge as one of the spiritual sparks of the Brahma Jyoti. And in we have this prayer also in Ishopanishad. It says, Hiranmayena Patrena. It says, right? Oh Lord, you are the maintainer of everything, both material and spiritual, and everything flourishes by your mercy. So he says, please remove the veil of your Brahma Jyoti rays so that I can see your personal form of eternal bliss and knowledge. This prayer is there. Ishopanishad 15. Let's go to the next one. And then, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna, about whom glorification, remembrances, audience, prayers, hearing, and worship can at once cleanse the effects of all sins of the performer. So, how important is Kirtanam? Kirtan is so important. And what is Kirtan? It's given here. See, Kirtanam, or glorifying the Lord, can be performed in many ways, such as remembering Krishna. That is also Kirtana. That's what it says here. Visiting temples to see the deity, offering prayers in front of the Lord, hearing recitations of glorification of the Lord. Somebody is glorifying Krishna, we hear that. And then Kirtanam can be performed both by singing the glories of the Lord in accompaniment with melodious music, with kartal and mridanga and all. That is Kirtan. Or by recitation of scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. That is also Kirtana. Shukamuni is sitting and narrating all this. That is also Kirtanam. That's what it said. So Kirtanam is this. But the devotees need not be disappointed in the physical absence of the Lord, though they may think of not being associated with him. The devotional process of chanting, hearing, remembering, can give us the direct result of associating with the Lord by discharging the transcendental loving service. So nice. So just we should not feel disappointed. I'm not able to see Krishna is not here, not around. How will I ever see him? Physically, it's not present, all these thoughts will come. But it's given here not to feel discouraged, because just by chanting, hearing, remembering, Krishna is associating with us, we are associating with him. Even the very sound of the holy name, Lord Krishna, Rama, can at once surcharge the atmosphere spiritually. Just by chanting every day, our house is becoming a temple. That's what Bhagavatam says. So, offenseless Kirtanam has positive association with the Lord. So, we cannot concoct our own devotional service. Okay, you'll say, okay, now I know Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I will worship him in my own way. No, we have to worship how we are taught by the spiritual master. Very, very important. So it says, and he's also talking about mosque and church because there are, that is also bona fide. One may worship the form of the Lord in a temple, or one may personally offer the Lord devotional prayers in a mosque or a church, whatever way they are taught, it's fine. They have to do it. Hearing is very, very important. Hearing, therefore, is essential in order to keep oneself strictly on guard against such pitfalls of sins. If we continuously hear Bhagavatam or the glories of Krishna, we will not commit any sins. That's what is given here. So, Krishna consciousness is a very purifying process. The process itself is very purifying. And in order to give special stress to the hearing process, the Goswami invokes all auspicious fortune in this matter. Then, let me offer my perfect, respectful obeisances again and again unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna, the highly intellectual, simply by surrendering unto his lotus feet. Okay, the highly intellectual, simply by surrendering unto his lotus feet, are relieved of all attachments to present and future existences and without difficulty progress toward spiritual existence. See, in Bhagavad Gita also, he repeatedly instructed Arjuna, or for that matter, everyone concerned with becoming his unalloyed devotee. He says, give up all religion, just become my devotee, surrender unto me, and everything will be fine. That's all you'll have to do. That's the ultimate message of Bhagavad Gita. So that's given here. So Bhakti Yoga is the highest quality of perfection to be achieved by the intelligent person in lieu of performing a large quantity of spiritual activities. So that's the purport. And then there is this sloka I told you about. We'll go there. So many facts are given there. Okay, this one. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna again and again, because the great learned sages, the great performance of charity, the great workers of distinction, the great philosophers and mystics, the great chanters of the Vedic hymns, and the great followers of Vedic principles cannot achieve any fruitful result without dedication of such great qualities to the service of the Lord. No endeavor will be successful without the Lord's sanction. If it is not successful, also it is hmm, his doing. So whatever the result, our endeavors, our efforts, our Krishna conscious, activities have to be done for the pleasure of Krishna. That's all. The results or whatever, that then if you focus too much on the result, that becomes a fruitive activity. Advancement of learning, a charitable disposition, political, social, or religious leadership of human society, philosophical speculations, the practice of yoga system, expertise in Vedic rituals, all similar high qualities in man serve one in the attainment of perfection only when they are employed in the service of the Lord. Without such dovetailing, all such qualities become source of trouble for people in general. See, sense gratification is always troublesome. There is no joy, eternal joy. It has a beginning, it has an end, and again a person goes into a lot of miseries. So everything can be utilized either for one's own sense gratification or in the service of one other than oneself. There are two kinds of self-interest: personal selfishness and extended selfishness. See, we do something for the country, for the society, that is also for ourselves, extended selfishness. If we do something for ourselves, then we enjoy personally. Oh, I'm so satisfied. I went to this vacation. I'm doing this. I feel so happy to sing this. I do, that is personal selfishness kind of. And when we do something for, family interest, something for the family or something for a group of people, then that is kind of extended selfishness. Only when it is done for Krishna, it is love for Krishna, and that is not sense gratification. A thief pleading not guilty, a thief pleading not guilty because of committing theft, not for personal interest, but for the interest of the society or country, has never been excused by the established law of any country. We cannot say, I didn't rob this for myself. I robbed it for, these people because they needed it. Still, it's a robbery only. It will be punished. So all this is not devotional service. So it's clear. For example, what is the interest of maintaining body and soul together? One earns money for maintenance of the body, but unless there is God consciousness, unless the body is being properly maintained to realize one's relation with God, that is why God has given us this body. This human body has all the facilities for us to realize God. All good efforts to maintain body and soul together are similar to the attempts of the animals to maintain body and soul together if they are not used properly for self-realization. The purpose of maintaining the human body is different from that of the animals. See, we are also constantly, oh, I'm hungry, I'll eat. I'm bored, I'll entertain myself. And then, if we just eating, sleeping. If we waste our time like this day and night, then we are living like animals. We have to study the scriptures. We have to understand what purpose. We have to follow all this so that we become perfect in our bhakti yoga. That is what is given here. The expert leaders of a godless human civilization cannot bring about a fruitful result in all their different attempts at educational advancement or economic development unless they are God conscious. If the whole world, even 1% of the world becomes Krishna conscious, then, there won't be problems. Everybody is so happy and peaceful. Prabhupada says that. So this is the purport I'm talking about. See, when Yudhishthira Maharaj was ruling, they say the whole world was one kingdom, right? Everything was under him. Now, in this purport, very nicely it's explained who is who. Let's understand. Kirata, Huna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Shumba, Yavana, members of the Khasa races and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Due to his being the supreme power, I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Who are these dynasties? Who are these people? Abhira, Pulkasha, Pulinda, Andhra. It's given here. What happened, it seems, when Parashuram was very angry, he wanted to kill all the Kshatriyas. Some of the Kshatriyas hid themselves. They could not, come in front of him. They were very scared, actually. They ran away and hid everywhere. And they left their Brahminical culture also. They did not follow the Vedic culture only they stopped following because of, they left their Kshatriya duties and they became something else. So it's given here very nicely. Let's read. It's very interesting because we want to find out who are those, who was in Russia, who was in Germany, who was in Australia, was that really part of India or what? Or everybody was called Bharatvasis or whatever, how did it work? What was the kingdom called, Everything is given here. It's very interesting. And Prabhupada also mentions Muhammad and Jesus in this purport. So can someone read this, please? Hare Krishna.
I'll read, Mataji, I'll read.
Okay, Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Hare Krishna, everyone. From Kirata, no, Mataji? From purport
Yes, Mataji,
only, no?
Kirata. Yes.
Yes. Purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Kirata, a province of old Bharata Varsha mentioned in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata. Generally, the Kiratas are known as the aboriginal tribes of India. And in modern days, the Santal Parganas in Bihar and Chota Nagpur might comprise the old province named Kirata, Huna. The area of East Germany and part of Russia is known as the province of the Hunas. Accordingly, sometimes a kind of hill tribe is known as the Hunas. Andhra, a province in South India, southern India, mentioned in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata. It is still extant under the same name. Pulinda, it is mentioned in the Mahabharata, Adi Parva, 174.38. Like the inhabitants of the province of the name Pulinda. This country was conquered by Bhishma Sena and Bhima Sena and Sahadeva. The Greeks are known as Pulindas, and it is mentioned in the Vanaparva of Mahabharata that the non-Vedic race of this part of the world would rule over the world. This Pulinda province was also one of the provinces of Bharata, and the inhabitants were classified amongst the Kshatriya kings. But later on, due to their giving up the Brahminical culture, they were mentioned as Mlechas, just as those who are not followers of the Islamic culture are called Kafirs, and those who are not followers of the Christian culture are called heathens. Abhira. This name also appears in the Mahabharata, both in the Sabha Parva and Bhishma Parva. It is mentioned that this province was situated on the river Saraswati in Sindh. The modern Sindh province formerly extended on the other side of the Arabian Sea, and all the inhabitants of that province were known as the Abhiras. They were under the domination of Maharaja Yudhishthira, and according to the statements of Markandeya, the Mlechas of this part of the world would also rule over Bharata. Later on, this proved to be true, as in the case of the Pulindas. On behalf of the Pulindas, Alexander the Great conquered India, and on behalf of the Abhiras, Muhammad Ghori conquered India. These Abhiras were also formerly Kshatriyas within the Brahminical culture, but they gave up their connection. The Kshatriyas who were afraid of Parashurama and had hidden themselves in the Caucasian hilly regions later on became known as the Abhiras, and the place they inhabited was known as Abhira Desha. Shumbash or Kankas. The inhabitants of the Kanka province of old Bharata mentioned in the Mahabharata. Yavanas.
Hare Krishna,
Yavana.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you. See, we are actually very curious. We want to know how it was, who are these people, how did the Muslims, Muhammad, how did they all attack India, and who were they actually? So here it says they were all actually formerly following Brahminical culture only. They just gave up it. That's all. They gave that up, and then they became like this. And the reason is given here. Why? Because of Parshuram. Right? See, everything is given. Who is who? So nice. Hunas, the area of East Germany and part of Russia is known as the province of Hunas. And then this is very interesting. The Greeks were called Pulindas. And then this Pulinda province was also one of the provinces of Bharata, the Greek part of Bharata. And the inhabitants were classified amongst the Kshatriya kings. So all the Greek kings, once upon a time, their ancestors were all Kshatriya kings. They gave up and they became like this, Malechas. That's the word used here. And so they are compared to somebody like this. If somebody who is giving up Islamic culture, they're called Kafirs. Somebody gives up Christian culture, not following, then they're called heathens. Just like that, they are become Malechas now. And who is Abhiras? Where are they from? And it says here, Pulindas. So Alexander the Great was part of the same, and he belongs to this Pulinda category. And then on behalf of the Pulindas, Alexander the Great conquered India, and on behalf of Abhiras, Muhammad Ghori conquered India. So he was also once upon a time, part of Brahminical culture only. He became like this. But Prabhupada says Muhammad and Jesus, they have done great service because they actually tried to make them God conscious. As they actually gave them, sorry. Where was I? Yes, here. So Shumbas and Kankas. Isn't it very interesting to know? Because we want to know because they look different also because of so many reasons. Geographically, everything is divided. And when we tell somebody everything was one, once upon a time it was one kingdom, people may not believe also. But then, there are so many we can see the evidence in so many places. Shumbas and Kankas. Okay, next we'll see Yavanas. Who are these Yavanas? Can someone read, please? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yavanas. Yavana was the name of one of the sons of Maharaja Yayati, who was given the part of the world known as Turkey to rule. Therefore, the Turkeys are Yavanas due to being descendants of Maharaja Yavana. The Yavana were therefore Kshatriyas, and later on, by giving up the Brahminical culture, they became Malacha Yavana. Description of the Yavanas are in the Mahabharata, all Parva 85.34.
Adi Parva.
Adi Parva, 85th chapter and 34th sloka, right, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Another prince called Turvasu was also known as Yavana, and his country was conquered by Sahadeva, one of the Pandavas. The Western Yavana joined with Duryodhana in the battle of Kurukshetra under the pressure of Karna. It was also fourfold that these Yavanas also would conquer India, and it proved to be true. Khasa. The inhabitants of the Khasa Desa are mentioned in the Mahabharata Drona Parva. Those who have a stunted growth of hair on the upper lip are generally called Khasas. As such, the Khasas are the Mongolians, the Chinese and others who are so designated.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. See, very nicely it's given. Who are these Yavanas? They are Turkey, people from Turkey, Turks. That's what they call Turks. Right? They were Yavanas. And they gave up and they became, and this says here, the Western Yavana joined with Duryodhana in the battle of Kurukshetra. So they're all part of the Kurukshetra battle under the pressure of Karna. And Yavanas will one day conquer India was predicted and it came true. So who came? Like that is given. And Khasas, it says, see, Mongolians and Chinese, they look different also. The inhabitants of Khasa Desha. And those who have stunted growth of hair on the upper lip are called Khasas. Why that name Khasa for that group of people? Because the way they look, the way they appear, their upper lip is like this. And, Chinese and Mongolians, they have distinct features. They look different from others. So the above mentioned historical names are different nations of the world. Even those who are constantly engaged in sinful acts are all corrigible to the standard of perfect human beings if they take shelter of the devotees of the Lord. So Jesus Christ and Muhammad, two powerful devotees of the Lord. See what Prabhupada is writing. They are bona fide. That's what he's saying. They are powerful devotees of the Lord. Muhammad also, Jesus Christ also. They have done tremendous service on behalf of the Lord on the surface of the globe. Somebody asked Prabhupada also, what do you think about Jesus Christ? He said, he's a guru. He said, we have a lot of respect for him. He's a guru. That's what he said. So from the version of Srila Shukadev Goswami, it appears that instead of running a godless civilization in the present context of the world situation, if the leadership of world affairs is entrusted to the devotees of the Lord, for which a worldwide organization under the same name and style of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness has already been started, then by the grace of the Almighty Lord, there can be a thorough change of heart in human beings all over the world, because the devotees of the Lord are able authorities to effect such a change by purifying the dust-born minds of the people in general. So the leaders are all Yavanas and Malechas and all this. So because of this, all these problems that we are facing, the wars and They work for their own self-interest. They're very selfish. So if the devotees become leaders, then things can change. If they can purify others also. The politicians of the world may remain in their respective positions because the pure devotees of the Lord are not interested in political leadership or diplomatic implications. The devotees are interested only in seeing that the people in general are not misguided by the political propaganda and that the valuable life of a human being is not spoiled in following a type of civilization which is ultimately doomed. They'll push all of us to animal kingdom. In the next birth, if we keep on, mm, being under such leaders who will push us to sinful activities, and what happens? The whole civilization, all the people who are in human body, next birth, they may go to the lower species. That's what is happening. They're pushing us one step down. If the politicians, therefore, would be guided by the good counsel of the devotees, it certainly there would be great change in the world situation by the purifying propaganda of the devotees as shown by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's very simple. All we have to do is sing kirtan, chant, and the process is very simple. As Shukadev Goswami began his prayer by discussing the word Yat Kirtanam, so also Lord Chaitanya recommended that simply by glorifying the Lord's holy name, a tremendous change of heart can take place by which the complete misunderstanding between the human nations created by politicians can at once be extinguished. And after the extinction of the fire of misunderstanding, other profits will follow. All the envy, hatred, anger, anarthas, if they are gone, obviously there will be a lot of profit. Everybody will be happy living in such a beautiful world. The destination is to go back home, back to Godhead, as we have several times discussed in these pages. So we'll stop at this shloka. We have one more paragraph. Remaining we can discuss next class, and we can take up one more pastime. Who'd like to read this one, please? Hare Krishna. Pramod Prabhuji, would you like to read? Krishna.
According to the from here, Mataji, according to
Yes,
the
yes.
cult of devotion,
Yes,
according to the
Prabhuji.
cult of devotion, generally known as Vaishnava cult, there is no bar against anyone advancing in the matter of God realization. A Vaishnava is powerful enough to turn into a Vaishnava, even the Kirat, etc. As above mentioned, in the Bhagavad Gita 9.32, it is said by the Lord that there is no bar to becoming a devotee of the Lord, even for those who are low born or women Sudras or Vaishyas. And by becoming a devotee, everyone is eligible to return home back to Godhead. The only qualification is that one takes shelter of the pure devotee of the Lord who has thorough knowledge in the transcendental science of Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyone from any part of the world who becomes well conversant in the science of Krishna becomes a pure devotee and a spiritual master for the general mass of people and may reclaim them by purification of heart. Though a person be even the most sinful man, he can at once be purified by the systematic contact with a pure Vaishnava. Vaishnava, therefore, can accept a bona fide disciple from any part of the world without any consideration of caste and creed and promote him by regulative principles to the status of pure Vaishnava, who is transcendental to the Brahminical culture. The system of caste or the Varnashrama dharma is no longer regular even among the so-called followers of the system, nor it is now possible to re-establish the institutional function in the present context of special political and economic revolution. Without any reference to the particular custom of a country, or can be accepted to Vaishnava cult spiritually, and there is no hindrance in the transcendental process. So, by the order of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the cult of Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita can be preached all over the world, reclaiming all persons willing to accept the transcendental cult. Such cultural propaganda by the devotees will certainly be accepted by all persons who are reasonable and inquisitive, without any particular bias for the custom of country. A Vaishnava never accept another Vaishnava on the basis of birthright, just as he never thinks of the deity of the Lord in a temple as an idol. And to remove all the doubts in the connection, Sukadev Goswami has invoked the blessings of the Lord, who is all powerful. Prabha Vishnave Nama. As the all powerful Lord accept the humble service of his devotees in the devotional service of the Archana, his form as the worshipable deity in the temple. Similarly, the body of a pure Vaishnava changes transcendently at once when he gives himself up to the service of the Lord and he is trained by a qualified Vaishnava. The injunction of Vaishnava regulation in this connection runs as follows. Archya Vishnu Srila Dhir Gurushu Nar Matir Vaishnava Jati Buddhi Shri Vishnur Namni Shabda Samanya Buddhi, etc. One should not consider the deity of the Lord as worshipped in the temple to be an idol, nor should one consider the authorized spiritual master as ordinary man, nor should one consider a pure Vaishnava to belong to a particular caste, Padma Purana. The
Hare Krishna
conclusion is
Prabhuji.
that
Oh, you
Hare
want to
Krishna
finish it?
Mataji.
Okay. Very thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji. It's a very long paragraph. Such a long one.
It's okay. So the
The
conclusion is
conclusion?
that the Lord being all powerful can under any and every circumstances accept anyone from any part of the world, either personally or through his bona fide manifestation as a spiritual master. Lord Chaitanya accepted many devotees from the communities other than the
Varnashramites.
Varnashrama types, and he himself declared to teach us that he does not belong to any caste or social order of the life, but he is an eternal servant of the Lord, who maintains the damsels of Vrindavan, Lord Krishna, and that is the way of self-realization. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much. So it's given what are we supposed to do if we have to be under the shelter of a pure Vaishnava? That will change everything. Our life becomes perfect. And we know several examples also. We know Brigari and Dhruva Maharaj came in touch with Narada Muni. That's how he became pure devotee. He directed him properly. He guided him so nicely. Like this, there are so many examples of how a pure Vaishnava can change another person. But a pure Vaishnava is not an ordinary person. We should not consider Vaishnavas as ordinary. Spiritual master is not ordinary. And the idol in the temple is definitely, it is Murti, which is transcendental. It is the deity of the Lord. So, you know, it says, a body of a pure Vaishnava changes transcendently at once when he gives himself up to the service of the Lord. See, they are not on the material platform at all. The pure devotees, or not even on the material platform. Everything they do becomes transcendental. The bodies also don't are not ordinary. So nicely it's given here. And anybody who is qualified to become Krishna conscious, anybody and everybody. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself accepted Haridas Thakur, who was born in a Mohammedan family. And he was a meat eater, like they born in that kind of a family. And he accepted him very nicely. And Vaishnavas are beyond, the four categories. They are, you cannot call them, you cannot categorize them. They are beyond Brahmanas also. So, and he is called Namadasa Haridas Thakur, right? Namacharya. So, like this is given. So, we have few more shlokas. We can discuss that with lot of examples, and then we can do the next pastime. We'll do that in the next session because it's been 1 hour already. We'll stop live stream. Just a minute.